And welcome to the Thursday edition of Robby and Rexrode. Joe Rexrode here. Robby Stanley in Orlando. Mark Howard with me. Michelle Knezovic running the show. It's a Thursday morning. How's everybody doing?
Just pumped. It's the last week of the NFL preseason.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Last week of the NFL preseason, and Joe, I'm just tingling.
Yeah.
The Bears are going to be coming into town. It'll be fun to see Justin Fields. Obviously, everybody's favorite whipping boy, Andy Dalton, will be the starting quarterback for the first week of the regular season. But already the lines makers have sort of tipped us off into which team this game means more to, because the Titans are a 2-point underdog. If they played during the season, they'd probably be, a 6-point favorite. So if that you want to read the tea leaves on that one, you're not going to see a lot of the Titan starters, or if you do, not for very long.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, so we have these at the Athletic. We have like these quick game previews. Sometimes they ask us to chip in, and I was asked this week, but basically just like write a paragraph about like what you think the Titans will do. And I was like, yeah, they're not playing those guys. I mean, it's like the Lions were like 1-point favorite over the Bills. What would that be in the regular season? About Bills by 12? I mean, so it's going to be the good thing, as I've told my son who's attending the game, is you're going to see a lot of Justin Fields. And really, if you're the Titans, defensive coaches, defensive players, that's a decent look, because I think they'll probably, like they have been, get a lot of those guys out there for at least part of it. And I think especially the DBs, you can play, though, you feel okay about
except
playing.
Bud Dupree.
Well, Bud Dupree's not going to be out there.
And obviously Harold Landry, because
Harold
COVID-19's
yes.
just sweeping through this team again.
Yes, and we're going to definitely get to that. And he makes it 4 players, 5 people total here on the list. But, I think, you're talking Dupree. Hey, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons played last week. I wasn't sure I'd see him this preseason, so we'll see how they approach it. I did want to get into, Mark, some kudos to a lot of people, and I know listeners of this show responded yesterday, but the Titans with $50,000. Vanderbilt has gotten involved. Waverly, that flooding is it's hard to even understand exactly how something that dramatic happens that quickly. The way it did, but it did. Terrible loss of life. Last I saw, it was 20 dead. Some heartbreaking stories. Then, of course, you get the community. Obviously, that Waverly football team, very important in the community. So kudos to everyone for who's chipped in. It feels like there's some real momentum, equipment, money, things like that. The Titans are going to let them play. I think they said a game or 2 if they need to here at Nissan Stadium. And just from your perspective, Mark, I've been here several years, but you've been here a long time. Look, I'm sure every community does a good job of responding to things, but I do feel like Nashville's pretty special in that way.
We have had a number of weather-related traumas to this city. Whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, a flood. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. And I've lived a few places around the country, and I don't know any area that rallies around people in need, like the people in Middle Tennessee, really all over Tennessee. The Titans are extremely community-minded. The Predators have been too, about stepping up, and if a check needs to be written, they will. Bud, even from the time they got here, was very philanthropic, when it came to, helping a number of causes. But as you mentioned when we were together on Monday, Amy Adams Strunk sort of, coming to Nashville, moving to Nashville, and really becoming part of the community I think has helped the image of the franchise, and it doesn't surprise me at all that the Titans again step up and really try to help everybody involved in any way they can, and I think it's a nice gesture to allow that football team to play here.
Yeah, no, I mean, and look, when it comes to specifically the Titans, I know that what I was told and what I've seen are very different things in that way. But also, I came in basically right when she came in and John Robinson came in, so I don't know what was going on. I think you're always going to have some fans, and I get it, who have a problem with sort of absentee ownership. And, they're going to fly in from Texas, watch the game, and fly back to Texas the same day and whatever. But Amy Adams-Strunk has entrenched herself pretty well here.
Well, it's kind of interesting because for a long time, the Predators worked the city in terms of sales, in terms of image, in terms of corporate relationships, almost better than the Titans did. And the Titans, of course, had a huge advantage because they're the NFL. The NHL, not exactly a known entity in most of these parts. And the Predators have done a phenomenal job of introducing themselves. But, we could go in a totally different direction here. All of a sudden, Amy Adams-Strunk appears to do all the right things. She's there have been a few missteps, obviously. The way they handled Mike Mularkey at the end probably, I think, is regretful. But whatever the case, Amy has been in the public spotlight just enough. She's not going to be Jerry Jones. She's not going to be that high-profile owner that you're going to see all the time. But she has done her best to connect with the fan base, the season ticket holders, Titans fans. And I think sometimes with the Preds have operated on a lot of goodwill, and Sean Henry has sort of been the face, of upper level management for the Predators. But with all due respect to Herb Frisch, who's a very nice man, he won't talk to reporters, and I don't think that's a very good look for the Predators, especially now when I really think fans want to hear from ownership. But that's just my opinion.
Well, no, I'm 100% with you there. I think that it helps to have a face and a voice. Again, you're talking about paying customers. And I think for paying customers, they like to know, okay, this person is going to hold this person accountable. I mean, who has more say in the the outlook, the happiness of a city of sports fans than the general managers? I mean, right? I mean, they
absolutely.
We've talked all week about Floyd Reese, and the great job he did and the great person he was. But look, I mean, he's not celebrated like this. But people don't know the person, or not nearly as many do, if you don't do the job that you do. He did, right? And that's
Floyd was thrust into a situation where he became sort of the face of management. You just didn't see Bud that much,
but you knew Bud was there.
You knew Bud was there. Bud was in Houston, and now with the Titans, there is a pretty clear chain of command. Everybody knows that Amy is in charge, but she has enlisted her management team, and we've seen it pretty clearly. Who is in charge of what. With the Predators, it's a little bit different. You do know there's a board. You do know there's a chairman of the board. But by and large, it's Sean Henry and David Poyle.
Right. And then it's last year, last season, especially when things were rough, before they turned it around. I mean, Adam Vingan, our beat writer at The Athletic, but also both of us, we're trying to figure out, okay, is there someone from ownership who will speak on any of this stuff? And, and Sean Henry spoke for ownership, which, I mean, obviously Sean Henry, president, CEO, it's a good voice to have.
Yes.
But still, I mean, to me, it's people who have the actual financial stake, who own part of the thing that they're asking you, the product they're asking you to come pay for. I mean, I don't think it's has to do. I tell you what, though, Vingan did a survey, and I was surprised by how many fans responded in the survey. They either like don't want to hear from an owner or don't care. I was like, okay. I mean, if I understand you don't want Jerry Jones, but I would think you'd want to hear from ownership. But on Waverly football, I tweeted this out yesterday. But if anybody wants to help Waverly football in particular, you can go to @Waverly Tiger FB, WAVERLY Tiger FB. Daniel Dewey, they've got a Venmo there, and it seems like people are really responding well, and that's good to see. Because look, in times like this, what is a community like that going to rally around? I mean, the high school football team is
it's huge there.
It's huge. It's huge in a lot of these communities, and we had the AD and coach on yesterday, and obviously it's just chaos down there, and they're trying to deal with this and clean up. But it's been great to see the way people have responded. We're going to get a break here. If you'd like to get involved on the phone or text line, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the Titans and the COVID situation, the most significant player yet to go on the list yesterday, here on Robby and Rexrode, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Welcome back, Robby and Rexrode here in the Wholesale Link Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. Joe Rexrode, Mark Howard, Michelle Knezovic. Robbie Stanley is he's in Orlando, Florida. It is the Disney dream continues. Michelle, I count on you to see. Actually, I did see a nice little collection of photos on Twitter from Robbie from Universal, which is I love the Universal.
Yeah,
there.
those are the intense roller coasters over there. He looked like he was having fun, though.
Yeah, little Harry Potter land, you know. You get drink some butterbeer.
Isn't there a point when you go down there, especially if you're in Robbie's situation, where you start looking at the pictures and you start to sense that he senses how much this trip is actually costing him, and he looks markedly sadder than he was a few days ago.
The $12 water bottles at Disney. Oh my gosh, the price is insane.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, well, you gotta not think about that stuff. But yeah, don't they? I think I know some of these places because again, we went to Universal this summer, but the one on the West Coast, they had like a thing where you get like unlimited water. You know, they got some of these things, but still, even that, I mean, it's not cheap. No, it's not cheap.
They get you in other places.
They'll get you, man, no doubt. But hopefully Robbie's doing. I don't know today. I mean, I haven't seen Animal Kingdom. Have they done Animal Kingdom?
I think Animal Kingdom. They've done Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios. Don't you love how
so
we're
it's
just...
Epcot time? It's
it
time
is
for Epcot.
Epcot.
Yeah.
Oh my good.
All right, that's 3. You got opportunity.
Epcot.
There we go. I like Epcot, by the way.
That's my favorite. You get to get your stamps on your passport, and you can go all around all the countries. It's great.
They've got like a really cool like Scottish bar there. Of course, that's what I like about.
Joe's doing the
Epcot.
drinking tour.
Yeah.
The pub crawl.
Well, but believe me, like Katie and I, like, and this is like 7 years ago. Like we had been all day, and it was like, can we find a beer somewhere, please? My gosh. So we did. It was great in Epcot. So. Mark, Harold Landry is the latest on the reserve COVID list. Now, Jared, of course, we got into a little fight about this yesterday, but Jared Stillman tweeted, citing sources that he said he's double vaxxed, which again I was like, well, what does that mean? So what Jared meant was that he has 2 shots, he has both shots, but that's not double vax, right?
No,
it's vaxxed.
Yeah.
Although we all agree on this.
Although when you get the 3rd shot, you say you're triple vaxxed.
Well, that's the thing, because now they have the boosters, which I'll gladly take mine whenever I can get it. But that to me would be like double or extra. Or
well, one of the vaccines was only 1 shot.
Well, that's the one I got Johnson & Johnson, so I got the 1.
I got I did the 2.
Which one? Moderna
I think
or
Pfizer.
Yeah.
Pfizer.
Okay. So anyway. Jared's point was that, this is COVID for someone who is fully vaccinated. And again, I mean, it's, Bruce Arians talked yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, but he was, Bruce Arians is convinced that the reason Ryan Suckup has COVID is because he went out to dinner with some Titans players. And he may be right. I don't know that he's right for sure, but he's like, well, Ryan learned his lesson. And we're not going to do this crap anymore. So, but I mean,
the Titans are going to infect the NFL.
Yeah. So now the Titans can be, the Titans can be everyone's villain again.
The Tennessee patient zeros.
Yeah. Right. Now, in all seriousness, I think obviously, it's just different this year. Obviously, when you talk about people who are vaccinated who are getting COVID, which is happening. And obviously Mike Vrabel's been fully vaccinated, I think going way back, and we're seeing this. So my question to you is, what is this season going to look like?
Again, only the virus knows, or the variant knows. We don't know. But what we do know now is that a year ago we sort of felt like, 2021, that oasis in the desert.
I said it out loud, and I regret it. Yes.
We'll be free and clear of this, this plague, that is, taken away, even from our sporting events. We're going to have fans in the stands. In most places, 100%. We've crossed that threshold. But the answer is, Joe, I don't know. the more people that are vaccinated, the more you feel like, or the less you feel like will test positive. So I don't know is the answer, but we're getting a hint that it's going to factor in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mentioned this I think yesterday, but so my daughter was sick this week, stayed home from school. Right. And, we got the email. The school's having some COVID cases. Got the email from her school. Got the email from the boys' high school. COVID. So we went to get her looked at a Vanderbilt clinic near us. And it was, the parking lot's full of people because basically you go in, you check in, they send you back out, and then they'll call you, And thankfully, she tested negative. But talking to the doctor, he had no idea, of course, that this would be then go to the radio. But he said that they had some information that actually, first of all, Vanderbilt Hospital where he works full, and all the people basically it's like it's all unvaccinated people, and especially the serious cases. There are some people who come in who are vaccinated, but for the most part, vaccinated people are getting COVID, testing positive, not having serious issues. But he said that actually I think Moderna is more effective per the most recent stuff at not having positives. Pfizer next. There's actually he didn't have info on J&J, which is the one I got, which not many people. That same too, Michelle? You got the same one?
Yeah, I got the same one too. So
I have no idea. But regardless, again, there's going to be positives. Mike Vrabel, the Titans had their kickoff luncheon yesterday, and they had Vrabel on the huge TV, smiling and laughing and holding court even from that perspective. He seems to be doing just fine, as a vaccinated individual with COVID. But I just, the NFL put down the hard line, and the response was tremendous, right? Just about the whole league's vaccinated. There's a few teams still lagging, but it's still a very high percentage. So the forfeit thing,
I think that was a wake-up call, and I think it, illustrated that the NFL isn't going to be quite as flexible as it was last year.
Well, right. They're not going to – they're just going to zap games. But, again, if you have everybody vaccinated and then you're still having these outbreaks, then, it just looks to me like it's going to be quite a mess. Look, it's great that we're going to have full crowds. It's going to be interesting to see if anyone here, especially now that Pfizer has gotten FDA approval. That was reportedly one of the big things for LSU is that FDA approval is, okay, we're doing you got to be vaccinated. Now, as Big Joe brought up yesterday, you talk about a mess getting into stadiums, which already, here, just in normal times at Nissan Stadium, we know how difficult it is for people who show up late, and you got a lot of people who get in.
It used to be the bag policy, and now it's going to be, are you vaccinated?
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying here. I have no indication that they're doing that here. I kind of feel like Vanderbilt will. That would be my guess, but they haven't said that they are. Tennessee has said they will not do that. But look, we have full crowds, and that's great. However that looks. But I think we're going to have a lot of games in the NFL with key players missing and, just not what we thought we were going to have just a couple months ago or 6 weeks ago or whatever it is.
And I understand why the NFL would mandate that if you're not vaccinated and you test positive, your team should face the consequences. Because it's everybody. They feel like as an NFL player, when you have teammates, it is your individual responsibility to get vaccinated so you don't infect others. But when you do get vaccinated and you do test positive, how fair is that to sit there and say, okay, you're not going to play, or your team might have to forfeit this weekend?
Well, and the thing is, look, I think moving forward, what Bruce Arians said yesterday, a lot of people are going to feel the same way. It's already – the Titans the other day at practice, all of a sudden everybody's wearing masks again. Like you can see, it's changed. They are responding to the Delta variant and the things that are going on in the world. At this point, I have Ryan Suckup going out to dinner with Titans players, was that a violation? Not that I know of. So I think, now things are going to change. But at that point, again, you're vaccinated. People are going to. I mean, it's we're going back to tighter, whether they're stated or official or not. Just a tighter situation. And like Bruce said, I don't care what he said. I don't care what the NFL protocols are. Like, we're not doing it. You're going to stand. He said families not going to be in the hotels, all this stuff. And again, that's got to be brutal too for the players in the league, who a lot of them got vaxxed probably the first chance they got and thought, yeah, it's going to be like normal and be my family with me, things like that. But again, like you said, who's in control of this situation? The virus and only the virus.
Well, and Peter King wrote that he felt like some of the wives of the players were driving this anti-vaxxer thing through the league. That the players are getting pressure from both sides. They're getting pressure from the team to get vaccinated. And I'm not saying that every NFL wife, felt this way, but they felt like there were some players sort of caught in the middle on this.
Yeah, I didn't read that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's a mess. It's really that's what it is. So we'll see where that goes. We're gonna get into actual football when we get back. Some sights from the other day, and we'll see if that's continued today at Titans practice that we hadn't seen in a while, and some pretty encouraging sights for the Titans and their fans. Next on Robby and Rexrode, ESPN 102.5 The Game. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in this Saturday as Nashville SC takes on Atlanta. Pregame starts at 2:15. The match begins at 2:30. And I just want to give you a shout-out for some animals there, Michelle. That's a jam. You've had a good week with the intro music, I got to say.
I know. Robby is going to be shocked when he comes back. He's going to be like, where did all these good jams come from?
Well, we got to keep working with Robby on, and Porth on things like that. But, as long as they get into Hall & Oates, it's kind of like your foundation, and you go from there. Mark Howard here with me, and we're talking Titans and talking number 2, number 11. Mark, we're out there Tuesday. A little bit surprising, especially, of course, number 11, A.J. Brown. This is, I guess, a day after Adam Schefter had his tweet about his knee, and then A.J. Brown had his tweet back, or he didn't. He sort of subtweeted him and was like, don't believe this stuff. A.J. Brown on Tuesday, nothing on either knee, looked just fine out there running around. But Julio Jones in uniform, and that was the first time in about 2 weeks. They were both limited in some ways. They were off to the side with some of the full-speed team stuff. They did do team sort of half-speed stuff, with Tannehill throwing and Henry in the backfield and then most of the offensive line together. And it was like, okay, there's I haven't seen that yet. You're not going to see it full go until September 12th. But still, I would call that encouraging. Do you feel any better about things just based on even Julio Jones putting on a uniform?
Yeah, because Saturday was never the barometer to see them anyway. They got a week and a half until the season opener, actually more than that, September 12th. So they've got lots of time, and I think they feel good about that. It's actually 2 weeks.
2 weeks from Sunday.
So to see them out on the practice field, just sort of starting, coming back, to full team activities, you figure they've got 2 weeks to get ready. They should be okay. And, knock on wood, the Titans are, relatively speaking, one of the healthier teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, they lost. They've had a lot of guys kind of shuffling in and out. They did have an extended period there where a lot of their top offensive linemen just weren't around. And
yeah.
You're like, man. Meanwhile, like Taylor Lewan is out there because he's apparently his rehab has just gone great. I mean, he looks like Taylor Lewan, but I think that was almost as big as Julio Jones and A.J. Brown being out there as, okay, Ben Jones is now snapping the football some.
Yeah.
And, okay, there's Kendall Lamb. I mean, right tackle is totally up in the air right now. Saffold, Nate Davis. So you know that it's not anything huge. I mean, Aaron Brewer, who I still believe is the chosen number 2 center, still has not participated as far as I have seen all of camp. So that's something that clearly is more serious, and we're not giving timelines on anyone, but that's actually a sneaky important thing here is Aaron Brewer coming back.
He is. He's their number 1 backup really on their interior line. Not only at center, but they would play him at guard if they needed him. And, yeah, he is a key guy. But by and large, we expect to see just about everybody. The only question is, how far along will Caleb Farley be, by the opener? Will he be ready to start? But in terms of actual, physical fitness, just about everybody's going to be a go. But then, we're going to get into stages of readiness, and that becomes a totally different question.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Ben Jones, a longer absence for him and still sort of, wearing the jersey, the non-contact thing. So being very careful. Ben Jones, the guy who he gutted it out all last year, but he was not healthy. And he did not practice much at all last year. Julio Jones, there may be 2 Joneses this year in the Titans who don't give you a lot of practice. I mean, who knows how that'll go. But, yeah, it is in stages. You figure Jones, Saffold, Davis, Lewan will all be there. And then Ty Sombrilo has also been hurt. He's now back in there. David Quessenberry, either right or left tackle, he's fine. And Kendall Lamb now back. And then Dylan Raduns has had a lot of work at right tackle. And, I thought the first preseason game, okay, there's a step forward. Second preseason game, there were a couple moments there with Joe Tryon that did not go well for him at all. So who would you like to see at right tackle? Who do you think it will be? Who would be ideal? I mean, I guess Raduns would be ideal, right? If the light flips on and he just starts to show why he was a second-round pick.
Sambrello's, played well when he's been in there historically. Lamb has been okay. So, at least for now, the Titans are going to have to settle for that. It's going to be interesting to see the effect on Nate Davis, because we saw last year when Lewan was out how it negatively affected Roger Saffold. And he was a veteran and really one of the better, guards in the league. So to me, you worry not only about that position, but the cause and effect on that side of the line. In the NFL now, it's not just the best pass rusher isn't always lined up on the right side. They move, and especially, A.J. Watt, the week one, Arizona, if they're like Houston, will move him all over the place. And, you bet, he's going to see that right tackle, and that right tackle, in all likelihood, is going to need some help.
Yeah, and in fact, I want to say, was it Sombrilo? I think it was. I think that was the game. Lewan got hurt in the Houston game last year. And I want to say, I may have this wrong. Was it the Pittsburgh game or the Houston game? I think it was the Houston game, and I think Watt lined right up over Sombrilo and got right at the quarterback immediately. So, no, you're right. They're going to – obviously, every team is going to look at that position and try to take advantage. And I would think that would be – I would think Quessenberry is the two, behind Lewan. Now, granted, it might be Sombrilo ahead of him if something actually happened. But I think it's probably more Sombrilo against Lamb right now for that job. I mean, if you're the Titans, you hope that just the numbers there. Now Sombrilo coming back healthy, Lamb coming back healthy. You got the rookie. You hope the numbers competition creates better play, but who knows?
It's just funny that just when you got J.J. Watt out of the AFC South, you're going to see him in week one.
Yeah.
And to me, he's sort of looming over the way this offensive line is going to be configured.
Well, and look, I don't think J.J. Watt is great anymore. I don't think he's gonna have the kind of season that would validate the money, but he's probably going to be better earlier than later, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's probably going to be raring to go in the season opener, fully healthy, and so yeah, he's a problem. I mean, you're going to have to account for him in this game, so that's something obviously to watch. I mean, I think that right tackle and corner are really the only questions in terms of lineup if you have everyone. Corner could be interesting. It comes down to, like right now, I don't think Caleb Farley is really pushing hard to be with the ones. I don't think he is. Now, doesn't mean he can't. I mean, obviously, you can watch him out there and say, okay, that guy's a little different. That guy's a little bit bigger, longer, look at the speed. He's a first-round corner, but you also have to remember he just played tackle football a little bit last Saturday for the first time in 2 years. So right now, I would be surprised if Caleb Farley is seriously pushing to start in the opener. But at some point, if everything goes well, that's a really interesting situation. I think the obvious trio that the Titans look at long-term is Caleb Farley on one side, Christian Fulton on the other side, Elijah Molden in the slot. We all saw Elijah Molden and why they drafted him on Saturday. I really like what he brings. But right now, you got Jackrabbit or Janoris if you prefer. He certainly does not prefer it. Jenkins on one side. So if Caleb Farley is like, okay, he has got to be out there. What's your lineup? It's going to be interesting. I don't know.
Well, I think the cornerbacking trio should be pretty solid because to me, their success is predicated on how well or how much better the Titans rush the passer, and then we'll find out. But you're right. If the Titans stay healthy,